Forget about Bridgegate. Is Chris Christie in trouble for just slamming the gate? Former Republican New York Governor George Pataki is furious at Christie for writing off New York's Republican challenger to Andrew Cuomo. Christie heads up the Republican Governors Association and as such doles out dough to a lot of Republican candidates, but not to New York Republican Rob Astorino, who Christie has already called a lost cause. And that's when Pataki just lost it. Why, Governor? He's down 37 points in the polls.
Yeah, he's got a steep uphill climb. But, you know, Neil, this is kind of personal to me because Rob reminds me of me back in 1994.
Do you ever trail by that many points?
I trailed by a lot. And if you ask people who this guy was, probably 90% would say we never heard of him. But I knew that I could win, and I think Rob can win. But what we need is to have Republicans certainly come together and at least be supportive. And Rob knows how to win in Democratic County. He got massive numbers of Democrats to vote for him. He's
in Westchester County.
Westchester County's 2-to-1 Democrat. He won, and then he was reelected in a landslide. He's been an effective executive. Yeah, I understand, you know, saving your resources and saying we're going to target the states where the races seem the closest. What I don't understand is in July writing off a race because things can change in 3 weeks.
So you think he just should have shut up?
I think he should have just
he wasn't going to get any money.
Rob is a great candidate. We'll wait and see what happens, but certainly I hope that he wins. You know, I would hope that all Republicans would get behind Rob and hope that he wins. And to me, an excellent executive, knows how to get Democrats and independents to vote for him in large numbers. It's an uphill fight, but he's our guy, and he has the right positions and policies for the state. So I would hope that the RGA would certainly take a look in October, and maybe they'll come to the same conclusion. But in July, don't write him off. And by the way, Neil, that comment was made the day before the Times ran a front-page story about this Moreland Act Commission and the U.S. Attorney investigating possible obstruction of justice over a corruption investigation that
so the Governor Cuomo could be leading support as we speak. But what do you then make, Governor, then of Governor Christie campaigning for Republicans who are 20 points or more down in the polls? Is the cutoff, you think, at 35, at 41?
I don't think there's a cutoff. I think what you do is you continue to support, particularly if you're the head of the Republican governors, you support all candidates. You try to help them in every way possible. You conserve your resources.
Well, Governor Christie seems to have made it clear when someone asked him about this on the stump, he's not going to talk to Astorino anymore. Move on.
Yeah, well, I think that's just unfortunate. You know, I think I'm going to talk about him because I know he'd be a good governor, and I think he's a very good candidate.
Do you think Chris Christie would make a good president if he ran?
I supported him the last time. I'm not going to talk about anybody being a presidential candidate. Let's decide who's going to win these elections.
It sounds like you've soured on him.
Well, I'll tell you, this is disappointing, you know, that the head of the Republican governors is not supporting the Republican candidate in the adjacent state. And
do you think he's vindictive?
Oh, I'm not going to say that. I know Governor Christie, I think, relatively well. We've always gotten across great. I was happy to be supportive of him and all of his efforts, and we'll see down the road. Perhaps that will be the case again.
Do you think there's a sort of an unspoken understanding between he and Governor Cuomo? Maybe it goes back to Bridgegate. Maybe it just goes back for the personal fondness of each other. The president, if I recall, did not campaign for his opponent when he was running for re-election in New Jersey. Maybe there's just sort of an understanding we don't ruffle each other's feathers.
Neil, I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that
I bet
question.
You do. I bet you do.
If I knew it, I would tell you. Yeah. But I do know that we have an excellent candidate. I think the best candidate the Republicans have had in over a decade for governor of this state.
Why did so many pass up the opportunity to challenge Governor Cuomo?
It's a Democratic state.
I understand it. You won 3 times.
And he has tens of millions of dollars.
I know, but you won 3 times and toppled a giant.
I think we got the right candidate. I think we got somebody who, as I said, can win it in the Democratic
But you didn't get any money. You survived not getting any money.
I had people helping me, and mostly grassroots, and we had enough money to get our message out there. And I think if Rob Astorino has enough money to get his message out, he will make this a credible race.
But Christie isn't making it easy.
He's making it harder, and that's unfortunate.
All right. What do you think of this whole Ebola dust up here? Now, you know, we're getting signs out of Mount Sinai. They could be treating a patient who might have or might be exhibiting the symptoms of Ebola.
Well, you know, I don't think the CDC has the greatest track record in advising the American people intelligently as to what's going on.
So that's the only game we got.
Well, I think New York State, New York City have had great health teams. Certainly, I know that I was proud of the team we had, and I have a lot of confidence in them. And
they don't seem to
maybe
be
not so much Atlanta, but I do in New York. Well, trust the people in New York. They're great professionals, and they've, from my experience, been always straightforward with the people.
But you don't believe, back to this issue, that Chris Christie has on this particular issue?
He's made it plain that he's not going to help the Republican candidate. That's his decision. I am going to help the Republican candidate.
Governor, always good seeing you. Thank you very, very much. Why Democrats are running away from the president and Republicans are running to the guy he beat for president.